is a nonprofit, charitable college access organization that assists students and their families, regardless of financial resources, in obtaining funding for post-secondary education. The service is free. GRASP assists them by developing an education plan by assisting them with financial aid process, awarding and administrating scholarships, inspiring them to believe that secondary and post-secondary education goals are attainable, and supporting them through the completion of their educational goals. As part of a continuing series, transitioning through the senior year, we will focus on the funding resource options available. I am here today with Mr. Ken Barker, President and CEO of GRASP, and Sandi Morgan, a GRASP advisor, to talk more about GRASP and the services they provide. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I've done some research on GRASP, and it is a phenomenal organization. Can you tell me kind of what the services are that you provide and what that looks like in a school setting?
We can. First of all, thanks for having us. And we believe in Virginia, where we serve, and we do serve 80 schools, 80 high schools in Virginia, that there should be an even playing field. That if you have the aptitude and the ability to go on to post-secondary education, that finances shouldn't be a barrier. And basically what we do is we have advisors in those schools. We work with students. It's all free of charge. And we really tailor toward the low-income students, those that do have that barrier, and we want to make sure we hook them up with the resources, with our scholarships, federal scholarships, state scholarships, so that they can go on to post-secondary education.
And so it all begins with the FAFSA, which is the
Yes.
free federal
Free application for federal student aid.
Yes, it's a lot of letters, and that just even the title can kind of become confusing for a parent a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about what the FAFSA is and what that process looks like?
This is, it's free of charge, first word in there. You file it, it opens October 1st for parents to start filing. It's not the only day, but that's the first day for the graduating seniors for this year. Once you have logged in and you have an ID for yourself and for a parent and for the student, then you put in tax information in there. And at the end of the FAFSA form, you can list up to 10 schools that you want to get this information. So then the information is sent to the 10 colleges or schools where you're interested in applying and you are seeking financial aid.
So the process, do you hear anything back from it immediately, or is it just?
You will get a FAFSA forecaster can be used, and then you'll see exactly what you can get, or an estimate. Not exactly, but you'll see an estimate on there. After that, you will wait to hear from the schools to get your final financial aid package. And that's given to students who are accepted once they have gone through the admissions process. Then their information is passed on to financial aid, and then the school begins to work with them for the financial aid piece.
Well, that's definitely good information to have, especially if you're still exploring options.
Right. Yeah.
So you help parents go through that, and part of the other things that GRASP does is they award scholarships.
Absolutely.
And so that is, I'm certain, made possible by generous partners and supporters. Can you share some of your partners' names with us and where that funding comes from?
Sure. We are blessed to have some very generous people around the state that help us really into thirds. The first third is from the state and the county schools, city schools. They give us money to help us support the scholarships and the advisors in the school. The second piece is from individuals, and we have dozens of individuals around the state and outside the state that believe in, again, eliminating those barriers of finances, keeping young people from getting the education they need. And then the last one is businesses and corporations. Altria, Dominion, Wells Fargo, Universal, big corporations step up, and we're really fortunate to have them, and they're so generous to GRASP.
And really, what a helpful way to connect as a parent. And I've gone through this process. It's a little overwhelming, and you start looking at these. How do I get connected to that? And so you provide such a great service. So if I'm watching this and I have a student that's a senior, and we're starting to kind of nick away at this process, how would I get connected to you guys? How do I take advantage of this resource?
All of the GRASP advisors in Chesterfield are connected with the counseling department. They can go through the counseling department at the high school and ask, what is the day the GRASP advisor comes in? How can I make an appointment? If there are questions, further questions, then they also can call our GRASP office and be connected with a counselor there and an advisor. Advisor.
What a great resource.
Yes.
Well, and just wrapping up, what would you, like as suggestions as for a parent, what would you say, kind of tackling this?
I would say don't wait. Many times parents and students think, well, let's put the financial aid piece on hold until the application piece is finished and we know where we're going and what the direction is going to be. The problem is, by the time you get to the admissions, you get through that, you've missed many opportunities. The second thing I would mention to parents is don't think that it's not going to help you if you file FAFSA. Many parents have that idea that I don't need to file. I know I'm not going to get anything. I know my child isn't going to get anything. Because when you file FAFSA, it opens up 4 different doors to your child. There's the federal scholarships and aid. There's money from the state of Virginia. There's money from the individual school or college, and there's also private scholarships. They'll want a picture of or a summary of your FAFSA in order to award a private scholarship.
That's great. That's great advice right there. Do you have anything you'd like to add? Or
No, I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity. And just one commercial, we helped over 7,000 students last school year. Mm-hmm. And people like Sandi all over the state, just really pouring out their hearts into these young people and believing in them. And once they get the scholarships, we don't just forget them. We follow up all through college, and we have all kind of programs where we follow up with young people.
And when you think about being able to open the door for 7,000 kids who may or may not have been able to access that educational opportunity, that's a huge impact. And I want to say thank you both for this work, because it certainly is, as a parent, so supportive, but just for our students and really making sure that they can maximize their potential. Thank you so much, and thanks for coming in to share with us about that today. And thank you for joining us on Engage Chesterfield.